Again, my name is Bernard. I'm with Insurance Advisors Direct, and I am the life and annuity specialist here. And one of the things that we like to do here is we have an excellent annuity platform called Retirement Roadblocks. And we'll have our good friend Brandon Haig explain it a little bit better than I can. I mean, I do a pretty decent job, but he's the guru of the Retirement Roadblocks. And so, Brandon, my friend, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you to all of you joining us. I'm excited. We're refreshing our retirement roadblocks piece. So Bernard and I started hosting these webinars a few months ago. And what we've done is we've gone through what is the retirement roadblock platform. We've gone through each roadblock individually. We've brought in guest speakers. Little preview. Next week, we're going to have another guest speaker, which is going to be excellent. So today what we're doing is we're going back to the beginning. And we're going to talk about retirement roadblocks and how it works with your clients to help work with their savings, generate income to help them live the kind of lifestyle that they want to live. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the retirement roadblocks presentation to show you what it is, how the presentation works to talk to clients. Because there's really, if you're looking at growth right now, there's really two ways to do it. One is with the clients you currently have, and the second is with new clients. The nice thing is this works in both of those arenas. So as you have clients that you're going to be coming up now that October is rolling around where you're talking to them, this is a great time to mention and at least drip a little bit about their retirement plans and their roadblocks. Next week, we're going to have Melva from North American actually come through and talk about how they have a very specific product that actually works as a supplement to Medicare and long-term care insurance, which is really unique because to get the benefit, clients don't need to go into assisted living. They can stay at home. So we're going to talk about all that as I go through these retirement roadblocks. But I want to say, as you have questions, there's a chat panel, there's a Q&A panel, whatever one you use, good with me. I have both of them open right now and I'll be able to answer any of your questions that come through. And if I can't answer it, I'll know where to go so I can find the answer and circle back around. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about the retirement roadblocks. First and foremost, this is a presentation that is designed to be used by you. You have access to it now. It doesn't cost you anything to leverage. It doesn't cost you anything to add your information in here. It is absolutely customizable for you to use, again, with clients now or with prospects that you're going to be talking to over the next few months as we wind down the end of the year. So what I did is I customized some of the parts, left some of them open so you can see what parts you can actually edit. Again, with this, it's a platform. It's not just this one presentation. What we have is as you decide that you want to roll this out, there are pieces to support you. Before you even get started in the presentation, we've got an invitation that you can customize and send out. Already created, already approved. You've already got access to it. We've got a seminar quick start guide. We've actually got a couple. This is just one piece of it. I know Bernard and IAD, to simplify your success, has already put together their own seminar quick start guide. So you can pick and choose a little bit of this, a little bit of that to find what fits you. And the last thing on this is the goal of this presentation is to plant seeds, to basically get people to say, I don't know if I've thought about that. In order to help you drive that point home, there is an event questionnaire. So when somebody signs up, they come either virtually or live, they fill this out ahead of time. You go through the presentation, they fill it out at the end and say, do I want to meet with you to talk about this more? What we have found is advisors that leverage this, agents that leverage this, that actually go through and use the program and the retirement roadblocks, they're getting over 80% of attendees to say, yeah, I think I'd like to talk about this. Because even if they've thought about some of these, it's rare that somebody's prepared for all of them. And as you present these ideas, you're going to be able to help them with these, because this platform and this program is not just designed to sell one product. It's product agnostic. Again, the whole point is to get clients to think, I haven't thought of that yet. Go to you, and you get to be the quarterback to help them find the solutions to solve these issues, where they can figure out, they've got their savings, how do they create income, and then live the lifestyle that they want to live. Excuse me. So let's dive into retirement roadblocks. Again, you populate your information in there. You've got your picture. You've got your qualifications. What is it that makes you a great resource for these clients? You get to introduce yourself and share some of this information with them. And now let's dive in. Personally, I believe that an informed client is a better client. So in my years here in the industry, about 13 or so, I've helped both retirees and pre-retirees navigate these twists and turns of their retirement journey. And what that experience, while it's not 20 years, it's over a decade, has taught me that retirees are going to face a few, if not all, of these 7 retirement roadblocks in retirement. Because those roadblocks could potentially expose your retirement or your clients' retirements to unnecessary risk, it's important that I refer to them as retirement risks. They're financial risks. We put them here as roadblocks. The good news is, the sooner that you and clients are aware of these risks, the sooner that you can help implement strategies to avoid and alleviate them. So, what are the 7 financial risks that retirees could face? Well, as you see on the screen there's longevity, inflation, sequence of return risk, withdrawal rate risk, Social Security, healthcare, which you are the experts on, and taxes. Now, I'm going to step away from the presenter role for a second, and I want to show you guys something. I am actually going to do a swap, because what I would like you all to know, and what I think is important to know, is I didn't memorize this. I'm not making it up off the top of my head. If you take a look, this is written for you. So if you're going through and wondering, how am I going to talk about this? How am I going to present this? Yeah, Brandon's the guy they brought on, so he knows it. I've got everything written right on the screen for me. It's already scripted for you to pick up, plug, and play. So you know that you can step in, run through it a couple times, and you're good to go. So let's dive in. To help guide our retirement discussion today, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to siblings Bill and Jill. Now, we use Bill and Jill because as clients view this, as your prospects view this, it helps them to put themselves in the story. When they see characters that align to people that remind them of themselves, they can step in and go ahead and envision this, which is the key to getting action. It creates emotion, it creates connection, which in turn creates action. So as we join Bill and Jill on their retirement journey, what we're going to see is they're going to face all 7 of these retirement roadblocks, and we're going to follow how they handle them, sometimes with better success than others. But it's going to show us how we can prepare, what we should be thinking about as we move forward through the retirement roadblocks. Now, the very first financial risk that Bill and Jill are going to face on their retirement journey is longevity. Longevity, I would argue, is perhaps the single greatest, most important risk facing retirees today. Excuse me. To illustrate the issue of longevity, I'm going to share a name. There's, I don't know how many in this webinar have heard of Thelma Sutcliffe or Thelma Sutcliffe. Thelma Sutcliffe in April of 2021 became the oldest living American in the United States at 114 years young. Fun fact, next week, Thelma turns 115 years old, the first week of October. So right now, Thelma's living out her retirement in Omaha, Nebraska. Prior to Thelma, until April, Hester Ford was the oldest American, and she was 115 years old, living, I believe, in North Carolina. Now, what's fascinating about this is in the United States today, there's 92,000 Americans that are age 100 or over. And it's expected that the number of folks above age 100 is going to double in the next 20 years to $190,000. Now, why that's important right now, and actually very timely, is I was actually just on a little cabin getaway with some buddies of mine. We were up in northern Minnesota, and we were watching the local television news just to pass the time after, I think it was the Thursday night football game. And even on their local news channel up in northern Minnesota, small town, they had an 8-minute story about Americans living longer than age 100. This is now starting to become much more known and much more of a news story, and folks are starting to become more aware of more and more Americans living past age 100. So we know that Americans are living longer than ever, which results in a retirement that can last 25, 30, or even 40 years. You look at Thelma, she may have been in retirement for 50 years at this point. So let's take a look at some stats. Right now, we know that if we have a 65-year-old couple, there is a 50-50 chance for men to reach age 89 and a 50% chance for women to reach age 90. That's a 50-50 chance at a 25-year retirement. Half of 65-year-olds, that means also, are going to live longer. In fact, 1 out of 4, 25% of men are going to hit age 94, women age 96, and 5% are going to reach age 100 or 102. The reality simply is that we're living longer, and retirement for many of us could be much longer than we anticipated. Again, I bet Thelma didn't anticipate she'd be retired for 40 or 50 years when she did retire, probably back in the 70s. Earlier, I mentioned that living longer is the single most important risk facing retirees. Why? Well, simply because living longer is a multiplier of all of the other retirement risks. The longer you live, the more likely market risk, inflation, long-term care, just to name a few, will have an impact on your retirement. So let's take a quick look at inflation. If you have clients that are one of the many retirees that are living on a fixed income, inflation or loss of purchasing power is one of the greatest risks to their retirement income. Inflation simply is the increase in the cost of goods and services over time. Because it can gradually increase, inflation is sometimes a risk that goes relatively unnoticed. Now, in the last few months, it's gotten a little more publicity because the inflation rate is hiked up, but when it's low, it's hard to notice. So in periods of high inflation, like the mid 70s or early 80s, consumers were painfully aware of the strain that inflation caused on their wallets. For example, back in 1979, inflation was 13.3%. During that time, 30-year mortgage rates hit 12.9%. The impact of inflation was more than noticeable at that point. So we all know that high inflation is bad. That's easy. But even modest rates of inflation can have a cumulative effect on a client's or retiree's income. Over the last 20 years, until the last few months, we've been experiencing relatively low inflation rates. So as I said, it mostly has gone unnoticed. As a result, inflation's still there, compounding year over year. It's just taking longer to really eat away at the purchasing power. So keep in mind that the historical average rate of inflation is 3.7%. So while the recent 20-year average is only 2.1%, it's likely that those rates will eventually move closer to the historical average. Again, over the past few months, we've seen 5+% inflation, and it's not looking like that's going to dramatically turn around in the next little bit of time. So when we look at retirement income, we have to find strategies designed to provide increasing income to help address the rising costs of inflation. Again, thinking about, Thelma, when she retired, the costs of a, say, candy bar, significantly different than they are now. And if we don't plan ahead for clients on these 30, 40-year retirements, we risk the chance that they will run into a situation where the fixed income that left them living a great life in 2021 might leave them struggling in 2051 or even 2061. Hard to think about those numbers out there, but that's the spotlight that we need to look through. So let's look at an example, right? If you have $50,000 a year of income today at a relatively modest 3% inflation, you need your income to double in 24 years. So think about that. Your $50,000 today of income, or your client's income, needs to become $100,000 in 24 years. But let's say we have periods of higher inflation. Let's say these months that we've just had continue on. Let's say it's 6% inflation. Well, now their $50,000 needs to become $100,000 in only 12 years. That means you've got to double it in half the time. So again, thinking about Thelma again, her income has had to double not just once, but twice in her retirement to maintain that purchasing power. So whether it's high inflation or low inflation, the longer we live in retirement, the more important it becomes that we create strategies to help maintain purchasing power so we don't potentially deflate our ability to cruise through retirement. Again, there's a lot of solutions out there. The goal is to get people to think, yikes, have I thought about 20, 30, 40 years down the line? You're going to be able to help them have those conversations and create those plans to stay, or at least hopefully stay close or beat inflation. Now, oftentimes we rely on that retirement asset to outpace inflation. However, we all know that markets are really unpredictable. They go up, they go down, up, down, up, down. Typically, market pullbacks will have a minor impact on retirement savings because the savers can simply wait for the market to recover. In 2008, there was plenty of time for folks that are looking at retirement now to wait and let the market return to where it was before they needed to start income. However, when market pullbacks occur early in retirement, so if you retired in 2007, they can have a major impact, making it really, really difficult for portfolios to bounce back and provide the needed income throughout retirement. So what that's called is sequence of return risk, or simply sequence risk. You can hear it go both ways. What's frustrating about this is that it's based solely on luck and what's happening in the marketplace when you retire. You can't control or predict the market. Can't do it perfectly, but its impact on your retirement nest egg can be significant. I'm going to demonstrate now that retirement timing is everything. So we're going to take a look back at our friends Bill and Jill. So let's say Bill did really well saving for retirement, and when he reached retirement age in 1996, he had accumulated $1 million in total retirement assets. What Bill did is he followed a broad market index fund, and in the first year of retirement, he took out 4%. You may have heard the 4% rule. We're going to talk about that more in a little bit, but this is a pretty standard rule of thumb that a lot of retirees live by. I'm going to save $1 million. I'm going to use a broad market index fund, and I'm going to take out 4% a year. Let's take a look at little sister Jill. She followed her brother's footsteps. She's 3 years younger than Bill, so she retired in 1999. But she also amassed $1 million in total retirement assets, followed a broad market index fund, and withdrew 4%. Again, she just retired in 99, 3 years younger than her brother. So let's get back to Bill. Bill started withdrawing that 4% or $40,000 a year. He adjusted it 3% every year for inflation. Again, very standard rule of thumb. And by the end of 2019, his withdrawals would have totaled just over $1,370,000. And his leftover, his residual account value, actually increased to over $2,100,000. Bill is looking very good. He's in no risk. Again, we take a look at Jill. She retired in 1999, the same setup as Bill, and she decided to continue to follow in Bill's footsteps. Again, she withdrew $40,000 a year, adjusted 3% for inflation, but here's where it gets different. At the end of 2019, Jill's total withdrawals were just over $1,140,000, so 3 years less than Bill, but her total account value was only $148,000. Jill has $1,960,000 less than her brother. They did the exact same thing. Bill retired in 96, Jill retired in 99. I'm sure if somebody would have had a crystal ball, gone to Jill and say, hey, Jill, why don't you just retire 3 years early? It's going to be a way better situation for you. She easily would have made that choice. But that gets into where we cannot predict the market. Now, I know this looks what? Not even possible. So let's take a look at how it happened. Again, Bill retired in 1996, and he experienced 4 years of positive returns before having to weather 2 bear markets from 2000 to 2002, and then again, 2007 to 2009. Bill simply had more time for his savings to grow before negative returns hit. Jill, however, retiring in 1999, only had 1 year of positive returns before the first bear market. Jill fell victim to sequence risk. The only thing she did was she retired 3 years later, giving her a different sequence of returns. As you can see, the effects of sequence of returns makes it really hard to plan for retirement. We can't predict what the markets are going to do or when. Some people try, but it's never perfect. Due to this level of uncertainty, many people now are looking for guarantees. They want to take this risk off the table as much as they can. If you have clients or you have prospects that you think might be looking to take that exposure off the table, IAD, working with Bernard, they have solutions and strategies that can help do that. Even if it's not taking all of the risk off the table, we can take away a lot of the heavy lifting that their savings will have to do, which can greatly reduce this risk. So I mentioned a little bit ago that 4% rule. We're going to dive into that now. Because of market volatility, researchers back in the 90s started asking, how much money could someone safely pull out of their portfolio each year and still have that portfolio last throughout retirement? That's generally called a safe withdrawal rate. In the 1990s, a financial expert by the name of William Bengen told us that based on historical data, 4% was a safe annual withdrawal rate. That was in the 90s. Now, that was a different situation in a different environment because bond rates had been high for a very long time. If you look at bond rates now, they're not the same as they were then. So 30 years later, if you look up safe withdrawal rate now, and I know because I just did it yesterday, you're going to get a bunch of different answers. You've got William Bengen now saying maybe it's a 5% rule. Morningstar, Morgan Stanley, Prudential, they're actually saying it's more like a 2.7 or 1.9% rule, depending upon how your savings are divided among equities and bonds. The point is, still nobody knows with certainty. And it's starting to get more and more of guesswork and more throw a dart and hope it works. But let's say we went as high as a 3.2% rule. That means if you look at the odds that we have here, at a 3.2% rule, 20% of the time, you're still going to run out of money. And the problem here is when you run out of money is when it's too late to go back to work. That's why we've seen so many folks in their later retirement trying to get back into the workforce, whether it's through a greeter role or one of the other roles that are available to their age. Folks run out of money and they've got to go back to work. You don't want to face that. So if I were looking at this and I was thinking, all right, 3.2%, I've still got an 80% chance of running out of money. Maybe it feels good. But if I use that to say, hey, if I was getting on a plane and they told me there's an 80% chance we'll make it to wherever we're going, if I was flying to Nashville and they said 80% chance you're going to make it, I'm going to look at a different plane. I want better rates than that. I want better odds. The only way to get that is to take out less. The risk there and the problem there means I got to save more. So if I'm looking at this situation where I've been saving all my working years and all of a sudden my withdrawal rate has to change because I'm facing these risks, I either got to save a lot really, really quickly, win the lottery, or look at some other options. Again, if the recommended annual withdrawal rates today are half of what they've been historically, moving from 4% to 1.9, if we think about Bill and Jill, their nest egg would have to double. If they're generating that $40,000 income using their 4% rate, they need $1 million. But if they're trying to be safe and they look at 1.9%, they need about 2.1 times more savings or another $1 million. Again, you either got to start saving real aggressively or get really, really lucky. Because this news is sobering to so many folks. The good news on this is there are a lot of financial and insurance strategies out there that can help create sustainable lifetime income. And the good news is many of these companies can get you closer to that 4% or even beat that 4%. We see folks leverage something like an income strategy along with their portfolio. They take 5 or 6% out of their income. Their portfolio only needs to do that 1.9%, and they are safe. Again, Bernard, the IAD team, has a ton of options that are available that they can walk you through to find what's going to be right for your clients or prospects. If this is something that they say, I really should think about that. Bernard and his case team can walk you through what exists, and they can explore what's going to be the safe withdrawal rate and the safe strategy for your clients. So we've been talking about lifetime income a lot, right? Savings, income, lifestyle. So as we talk about this, Social Security is actually one of the few sources of guaranteed lifetime income for many retirees. Because it is so vital, it's important to thoroughly understand the options that exist to optimize benefits. Fun fact, if you talk about annuities with some folks, you may get the, oh, I don't like annuities feedback. Strangely enough, if you call it a different name like Social Security, which if you look at how it works is basically just that, you save into it over a period of time and then get a guaranteed lifetime income afterwards, it changes their mind a little bit. So Social Security determining how and when you're going to file for your benefits or turn on that income can be really complex. And there are a surprising number of options to consider, and the choices you make could have a significant impact, not just on your client's retirement income or your prospects, but their spouse or any survivor's income as well. I'm going to show you a little bit about that, but before I get into it, I want you to know IAD has the ability to help you walk through and generate Social Security reports for your clients. If they're wondering what their options are, you can reach out to Bernard and his team. We have folks on staff that can walk you through, here are the options, and help you walk clients through what might be the best choices for them, as well as how they can maybe optimize by using a couple other financial strategies, again, available to you. So there's a few things to note. You can start receiving Social Security benefits as early as age 62. However, you're entitled to 100% of your benefits when you reach full retirement age. What happens really frequently, though, is that people start their benefits before reaching full retirement age, which may not be the best option, whether it's, oh, I don't know if it's going to be there forever. I don't know what, to take. I don't know how long it's going to last, or I'm ready to get it now. Whatever it is, the decision to begin benefits prior to or after your full retirement age can permanently decrease or increase your benefits dramatically. So we're going to go back to our friends Bill and Jill. Bill and Jill both have a full retirement age of 66 when they're entitled to their full benefit of $2,000 a month. Now, if Bill were to retire and take Social Security benefits earlier, say at age 62, he's going to experience a 25% reduction in his benefit. So his $2,000 now becomes $1,500 a month. On the other hand, let's say Jill waits until age 70. She's going to receive what is called delayed retirement credits. Her check now is going to increase by 32%. So at age 70, now Jill's going to receive $2,640 a month. Now that's a significant difference between Bill and Jill. To put it another way, due to Jill's delayed retirement credits, her total lifetime benefit is going to be over $130,000 more than Bill's. If she lives longer, that number is only going to increase. Since Social Security is most likely one of the few sources of guaranteed income for most people, When you talk to clients, when you talk to prospects, share with them that you can, with the help of IAD, explore their Social Security filing options so that they can make a strong decision about when and how to file for those benefits. Again, we see a lot of folks right now looking for a short-term product to bridge the gap. If Jill could find a way to create some income between 65 and 70 that costs less than 130,000, which there are many, she's coming out ahead and saving money in the long run. Bernard and his team can walk you through that. Next up is healthcare. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and to be honest, this is where you all are the experts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go quick, tell you a bunch of stuff you probably already know, but I want you to see what exists in the platform to talk about this. So again, healthcare is one of the risks that's almost impossible to accurately plan for because we don't know what's going to happen. All we can do is plan ahead to protect ourselves and hope that we don't have to use what we've prepared for. It's one of the fun things about insurance is it's the thing you buy that you never hope to use. But as we age, our out-of-pocket healthcare costs no doubtedly go up. And as a result, a healthy 65-year-old couple can expect to spend just over $12,000 a year in annual out-of-pocket costs. By the age of 85, that number is going to triple to just shy of $38,000 a year. So why? Again, you all know this, but if you look at retirement, what the Retirement Roadblocks platform leverages is three distinct phases: the go-go, slow-go, and no-go years. Again, you've probably heard these, but during the go-go years, you're retired, healthy, active, living retirement to its fullest. My parents and in-laws are in their go-go years. I think my in-laws are traveling to Punta Cana next week to go on vacation, and my mom was just in Mexico a month ago. They're going and they're having fun. In your slow go years, your activity begins to slow down and you start making more visits to the doctor. I have aunts and uncles in this phase. When you hit those no-go years, living independently can become a challenge. And at each of these stages, your healthcare usage and costs go up. My grandma is still with us. She is 100% in those no-go years, and it is doctor visits every week at this point. So I mentioned Thelma Sutliff at 114 years old, living in Nebraska. While Thelma has actually spent most of her later years in assisted living, dining with friends as she had no children, and her husband actually passed away in the 70s, many families opt to explore in-home healthcare options due to the high cost of long-term care, or they just want to stay home. I'm working with a client right now that he turned his garage into an apartment for himself. His son and his son's family moved into the house that they have, and now he's looking at ways that he can leverage in-home care so he doesn't have to leave the home he's had forever and is now their family home. Research shows that nursing home costs are approximately $7,700 a month, and that assisted living facilities are approximately $3,600 a month. So if we look at just the national median cost of a private room in a nursing home, it's about $92,000 a year. That's a lot. And many folks don't plan for those healthcare costs. But the financial cost of not planning, as you all know, can be devastating. We have to look at contingencies by looking at insurance solutions to help offset the potential risk of healthcare expenses. Again, that is your arena, and you guys are way better than I am at that. Our last risk we're going to talk about is our good old friend taxes. Taxation is one of those risks that you actually can plan for. You can plan for it proactively. If you've heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of that best-selling personal finance book, he said it's not how much you earn that matters. It's how much you keep. Taxation speaks directly to that. So many of clients and prospects have IRAs and 401ks as their biggest retirement savings. Here's the problem. When you withdraw those, or when your clients withdraw those assets, Uncle Sam's going to want his cut. And because those are all pre-tax, if that's all that clients have been saving for, they may leave themselves with a pre-tax time bomb come retirement. So even though Bill and Jill may have saved $1 million in their 401k, what they actually take home is going to be significantly less than that after they pay Uncle Sam. The issue with taxation is that the future of tax rates is uncertain. The reason, well, in the fall of 2020, the US had about 27 trillion in debt, and each year the federal government spends about $574 billion just to pay the interest on that debt. So today, taxes are still at relatively low rates, but in order to balance the budget, there's only two options: decrease spending or increase taxes. Now, if you talk to people, how many folks really are going to believe that the government is going to spend less? Considering that in the past 60 years, it's happened only 4 times, it's more likely that they're going to pull that other lever, which means taxes are going to have to increase rather than a spending decrease. Now, if the government were to increase taxes, we want to ensure that clients and prospects have different sources of retirement income so that they can pivot should tax rates change. That's called tax allocation. Tax allocation looks at taxable, tax-free, and tax-deferred savings vehicle. It's important because it can give you the flexibility depending upon whether we're in periods of high tax or lower tax rates. For example, if tax rates go up and most of retirement assets are in traditional 401ks or IRAs, that means that once withdrawn, those after-tax that after-tax income is going to be less. So you're paying a higher tax rate on it. But with tax allocation, if tax rates go up, you could pull income from more tax-efficient vehicles like Roth IRAs, which are not taxed when you take the money, and life insurance. Again, not impacted by changing tax rates. You can balance the two and find the right balance so that you can maximize your amount of income. As I mentioned, of all the risks, taxation is the one that clients and prospects can plan for proactively. When you meet with them, you can have this discussion. Now, you may not be the one to help them with that, but if no one else is talking to them about this diversification, you will be the one that they'll ask for help. And it's up to you to choose where you want to send them and how you want to manage that. But this kind of a conversation can be a great source to set up a center of influence referral stream, where if there is a financial advisor that you know or you trust that can help clients, you can send them to them, those clients or prospects to those advisors, and those advisors can send folks to you. This is a great conversation to set up those COI relationships. Now, that's it. I've been going for a solid 45 minutes, but that's all 7 roadblocks. We've spent about 6 minutes on each one, and those are the risks to avoid in retirement. Now, the big key in any retirement journey is not to go it alone. So you can help clients think about these retirement risks and roadblocks and help them, along with IAD, Bernard, their case team, to build a retirement income strategy where they've got their savings, they can generate income, and they can create the kind of lifestyle that they want to live throughout retirement. Again, this doesn't have to be a one product solution. IAD's got life insurance, IAD's got Medicare, IAD's got annuities. There are a lot of tools, a lot of tools in your toolbox that you can use to help with clients. And again, Bernard and his team is here to help. The biggest point is if you think back to Thelma, she's had a 50+ year retirement. It's a good reminder that it's a long-term prospect. So to help clients and prospects keep that long-term perspective, a trusted financial professional like yourself can help them do that and help them keep their eye on the ball as they navigate those 7 roadblocks. Again, IAD has resources to support you end to end as you have these discussions, whether it's white papers that talk about each one of these risks individually. They've got those. Whether it's a quick 2-3 minute animated video that shares the idea really quickly, they've got those. They've got all of the things to help you out. And next week, we're going to have North American Melvin Newbrow that's going to talk through the VersaChoice 10 and a supplement to Medicare and long-term care. That's it for me. Bernard, I'm turning it over to you to close us down.
All right, my friend Brandon, as always, thank you, brother. You're doing an excellent job each time. Folks, I'm going to reach out to everyone that was on the call. And, one thing, we have retirement roadblocks, but we just asked one thing. Like I said, it is there on our website to use. We just ask that you get appointed with just a few of our annuity carriers, especially Athene. Athene has one of the biggest guaranteed income products out there today. So that's pretty much our go-to carrier, but we have a strong list of carriers that you can choose from that may work for your clients. The one other thing that we like to do with our clients is that if you need coaching, we have Brandon and myself do one-on-one coachings with you to make sure you get a full understanding of the annuity. If you have client situations that you want to ask questions on, we're always here for you. So folks, we will see you next Wednesday at 11 a.m. when we talk about North American and their VersaChoice product. So everybody have a good rest of your week and a great weekend. All right, take care, folks. All right, bye.